Hi, this is Roger for Satyagraha News Network, where truth is the force. Today is December 20th, 2020. The United States is not a democracy, not even close. The first definition listed in the Merriam-Webster Online Dictionary for democracy is, quote, government by the people, especially rule of the majority, unquote. It is clear, based on this definition, that the United States is not a democracy. Since 1992, there has been only one Republican president elected by a majority of the populace, and that was George W. Bush in 2004, and that was only after he assumed the bully pulpit of the presidency as an incumbent by winning the election in November 2000 by 5 electoral college votes, but losing the national popular vote by 547,000 votes to Al Gore. So since 1992, only one Republican has only once, quote, legitimately won the popular vote for the presidency, but in this time there have been 3 Republican presidential terms for a total of 12 years. I ask you, does that sound like a democracy to you? The United States government, this experiment in so-called democracy, is built upon a foundation of checks and balances, yet these also have been so eroded and currently do not reflect a thriving and robust democracy. A more apt term would be to call them cracks and balances. The 3 branches of the government do not reflect the will of the majority of Americans. George W. Bush, first elected president without a majority, ultimately nominated 2 Supreme Court justices. Donald Trump, who lost both of his elections by a total of about 10 million votes, has served 1 term in the White House and is trying to cheat his way into a 2nd term. Trump has installed 3 Supreme Court justices. Included in his 3 nominees is Amy Barrett, nominated in a desperate last-minute bid to ensure minority Republican rule on the Supreme Court, as Trump must have seen his slim chances in the polls of his winning the popular vote in the 2020 election looming on the horizon. So the executive branch of the government and the judicial branch of the government are biased in ways that do not reflect the will of the majority of Americans. Well, what about the legislative branch? Clearly, the United States Senate is biased and does not reflect the will of the majority of Americans. Take, for instance, 2 of the largest states by population in the United States, California and New York. In total, they have 59 million people, and generally, they vote for Democrats. So, for 59 million people, these 2 states get 4 senators. Yet, 2 of the smaller states by population, Wyoming and Alaska, with a total of about 1.25 million people, also get 4 senators. Writ large across America, this kind of electoral imbalance is a reason why this 3rd branch of the U.S. government does not reflect the will of the majority of Americans. This also is the reason why the U.S. Senate acquitted Donald Trump after he was impeached. This is also the reason why the U.S. Senate did not reflect the will of the majority of Americans. Finally, the other branch of Congress, the aptly named House of Representatives, is the only branch that currently is representative of the majority rule. However, the House of Representatives has been so widely damaged by gerrymandering, the cobbling together of widely disparate geographical areas within the state by a political party in order to create a majority when there wasn't one previously, that before long the moniker House of Representatives will be laughable. At that point, if nothing is done, the experiment in American democracy will have failed. But all is not lost. The simplest solution, which worked in 7th grade and would work now, would be to have a simple popular election for president, the novel and democratic idea of having 1 vote for every 1 person. An added benefit would be that the results of this race would be immediate and not languish on for weeks. Without dropping out of the Electoral College, America will remain a binary country, red state pitted against blue state, instead of the many shades of purple or gray that we really are. So subsequent to getting rid of the Electoral College, having a mostly unbiased computer using some form of artificial intelligence and pure geography to pick the districts for the House of Representatives would go a long way in making America more democratic. I'm not particularly sure how to fix the Senate so that it better reflects the will of the American people, but surely if we put our minds together and if our hearts are pure, we can come up with a solution. To borrow from a New York Times headline from many years ago, it's time to drop out of college, drop out of the Electoral College. Hillary Clinton said this prior to her freshman term serving in the Senate in late 2000, only to regret not having done anything about the Electoral College in 2016. Why is it that one of the most eminent political jobs in America is the one job not directly picked by the majority of Americans? This is Roger for Satyagraha News Network, where truth is the force. You can fool some of the people some of the time, and all of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all of the people all of the time. Thank you for your time.